Why did Sarada's kidnapping scenario fail? What really happened and who is actually to blame? Yeah, that's at least our topic of discussion for the next few minutes. I'm Nim without an E. We aren't going to talk about how Boruto rescues Sarada, what Boruto plans to do next, or how Boruto will find the location of the base where Sarada was kidnapped. That's because for the next few minutes, we'll be looking back at a simple flashback and seeing how this evidence reveals that, in the end, several characters will break or derail that future timeline. So yeah, first and foremost, over the past few days, we've certainly discussed and analyzed Sarada's scenario and just how far Boruto went in choosing a very dangerous and risky path by sacrificing Sarada. Regardless of whether that plan succeeds or fails, like Boruto coming to the Shinju base and destroying the Black Cube or something similar, at this point, there's an interesting detail you need to know. In short, I really don't believe the cause of Boruto's plan failing is as simple as Code being smarter or something like that. Or maybe I don't truly believe Kashin Koji's scenario to sacrifice Sarada failed simply because Code was one step ahead. I don't know the exact right words to describe it, but that's just how it is. Because once again, if we look back at the entire sequence of events in Chapter 36, especially in this case, who actually failed here? Did Boruto miscalculate his strategy, or did Koji miss something that caused this plan to fall apart? And to be honest, initially I suspected that the scenario to let Sarada get kidnapped was purely Boruto's decision. However, it's very hard to believe that Koji wasn't involved at all, right? Because after all, even though Boruto always chooses his own path, he usually does so only during crucial and desperate moments, or in other words, during emergency situations. That's the pattern or trait we have to understand. In this case, too, I think this was purely Koji's decision and plan. But regardless of what, how, and to what extent the scenario was, we have to understand that Boruto's actions at the end of Chapter 36 prove that this mission was literally Kashin Koji's. Because once again, even though Koji told Boruto that the mission to kidnap Sarada had failed and tried to stop him from going, the fact that Boruto went anyway shows us that Koji is literally the main mastermind behind this scenario, right? And honestly, I'm sure a lot of people in the fandom are asking questions or guessing. For example, were there other factors like Sarada herself making a mistake while executing her mission? Or was all of this just a coincidence? The more I reread this chapter, the more I feel like Ekamoto intentionally set it up so we would blame Boruto first. Yet, if you look deeper, several details actually point toward a completely different conclusion. Because in the end, Boruto's plan almost worked. Almost. But just because one small detail changed, the entire future shifted with it, the strategy and where it went wrong. Let's start with the first fact. Boruto's strategy was actually fairly simple. He intended for Sarada to be kidnapped by Code. But because Boruto had previously explained that Code had scattered claw marks around the village, Sarada took the initiative to walk alone in a quiet location so Code would be tempted to approach her. However, I have my doubts. Initially, Boruto did plan to let Sarada be taken to the base, but somehow, Boruto's secondary objective was not just to leave Sarada completely hopeless after being kidnapped. Instead, it was to use Sarada as bait to draw Code out of hiding. Because all along, their biggest problem wasn't defeating Code, but finding him. Even though I know defeating Code is a simple task for Boruto, Koji himself admitted that locating Code is difficult. To overcome this, Boruto gave Sarada a few pins or symbols infused with his chakra. That way, whenever Sarada was abducted, Boruto could instantly detect the symbol's location and teleport to where Sarada was. On paper, this strategy makes complete sense. Code comes out, Sarada acts as bait, Boruto follows, then the battle begins. But in reality, it didn't play out that way. Sarada was kidnapped, Boruto arrived, but the pin was simply left behind. The next question is, where did the failure occur? The answer lies in something even Boruto probably didn't anticipate. Code noticed Boruto's chakra attached to the pin. This is the part that changes everything. Once Code realized the function of the pin, he no longer kidnapped Sarada along with Boruto's symbol. He made sure Sarada lost all of those pins before taking her away. This meant Boruto lost his only location indicator. In an instant, the entire strategy fell apart. But does that mean Boruto was at fault? Not necessarily. The blind spots of prescience. Because this raises another question. Why didn't Boruto anticipate the possibility of Code finding the pin in the first place? After all, Code has always been known to thoroughly understand the mechanics of chakra, karma, and his own claw marks. It's impossible for Boruto to assume Code would be so easily fooled. This is where Kashin Koji's involvement becomes interesting to discuss. Over the past few chapters, Boruto has almost always acted based on the future seen by Kashin Koji. Even the most dangerous decisions were made after Koji confirmed the existence of a specific future possibility, which means there is a high chance that the plan to use Sarada as bait also came from a vision provided by prescience. If that's the case, let's shift our perspective. Did Boruto fail, or has the future seen by Kashin Koji simply lost its accuracy? Yeah, either could be true. At the very least, chapter 36 actually gave us a clue about this. Amato mentioned that the ability to see the future has a blind spot. Not only that, he also explained that there is a time lag before the future updates again. I think this statement is extremely important. It means what Kashin Koji sees isn't a future that constantly morphs every single second. He sees update results at specific intervals, and between those two updates, the real world keeps moving. People keep making new decisions, and conditions can and likely do change. In other words, there is always room for the future to deviate. Even more interestingly, Amato went as far as modifying Kashin Koji's brain so his future updates would happen much faster. Why? If the prescience ability were already perfect, Amato wouldn't need to make any modifications at all. The fact that he felt the need to upgrade the ability is proof that he knows the biggest weakness of prescience. And very weakness might be the main cause of this kidnapping plan's failure, because it's very possible that when Kashin Koji looked into the future, Code hadn't realized the presence of Boruto's pin yet. However, a few hours later, after the future shifted, Code managed to figure it out. Meanwhile, Kashin Koji hadn't received the next update yet because he was currently being kidnapped by Amato. As a result, Boruto proceeded with the old plan, while Code was already acting on the new situation. The ripple effect and karma users. But imagine this. What if Amato himself unwittingly caused all of this? Remember, the entire event in chapter 36 started with Kashin Koji's abduction. After that, Koji was modified. Then his prescience ability changed, allowing him to receive future updates much faster. If you think about it, Amato's actions directly altered the timeline that Kashin Koji had previously seen. In other words, the future where Boruto mapped out his strategy might no longer be valid after Amato interfered. And that is the biggest irony of this chapter. The person trying to fix the future vision ability might actually be the cause of the future changing itself. Now, what about Sarada? Did she make a mistake? As far as we've seen, the answer is no. Sarada followed all of Boruto's instructions. She walked alone, she baited Code, she didn't abandon her mission. The issue arose not because Sarada failed her task, but because Code successfully disrupted the rescue mechanism Boruto had prepared. This means Sarada is simply a victim of an unforeseen shift in circumstances. So who holds the most responsibility? In my opinion, no single person does. If you disagree with my accusation regarding Amato, that's fine. But at the very least, this failure wasn't a coincidence. Instead, it's something we predicted months ago. Do you remember our discussion about that video? In short, every karma user always possesses the probability to disrupt or break the future timeline predicted by Kashin Koji's ability. Starting from Boruto, then Kawaki, and now Code, it seems this failure serves as absolute proof that karma users have the probability to cause interference and create branching futures. Conclusion. So far, what is your perspective on this mission's failure? Was it just a coincidence, or was it something else entirely? Because once again, the future seen by Koji through prescience couldn't just fall apart or diverge out of nowhere unless someone actively altered its path. And so far, that pattern consistently appears around karma users. Boruto has done it before. Kawaki has done it too. And now it's very likely Code did the exact same thing. So if this theory holds true, then the failure of Sarada's kidnapping mission didn't happen because Boruto was foolish or anything like that, nor because Sarada made a mistake, nor because Kashin Koji misread the future. Rather, it happened because there was a variable capable of breaking the future itself. So, who do you guys think is most responsible for the failure of this mission? Is it Boruto, Kashin Koji, Amato, or is it Code, who unconsciously became the new variable that broke that future timeline? Personally, if I had to choose, the last option is my pick because I'm convinced this wasn't a coincidence. Yeah, whatever your thoughts are, let's chat in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Nim without an E. See you in the next video. Bye-bye. Databayo.